Hello, you. It's me. And I was watching Toddy One Skip this morning, and she spoke of a creator named Karma Collector. Now, I have seen his face before, but I'm not real familiar with him. Maybe I should get more familiar with him. But he was talking about Aurora the baby. He has said, and I've heard him say this before, that Aurora doesn't exist. She's not a real baby. And that they're getting tired of the whole ruse of having a kid. So he says he has heard that they're going to stage some kind of a accident, quote unquote, that would help to discard the Aurora the baby story, and they wouldn't have to pretend anymore. And when I heard that, we've all speculated, lots of speculation. A lot of us, including myself, have still been on the fence about, is Aurora the baby real or not? And a lot of people are adamant about the fact that Aurora is real. And a lot of people are certain that she's not. Aurora the baby doesn't exist. So I started thinking back to the beginning and the history of Aurora the baby. And I was thinking about this, and I'm going to go over it with you. It's not like we don't know this, but maybe we just need a reminder. First of all, I guess you call them maternity photos with her and Ken, where she's wearing the white dress, not this one pictured during the, this is a different time. This is when they were having the baby shower. But when it was just her and Ken posing, and they had, the little pictures, little sonograms, Gypsy herself said in at least 2 interviews that those were fake, and that Lifetime had them posing for those pictures before she even knew she was pregnant. Okay, she said that herself. And as we know, during her pregnancy, that baby bump changed drastically and continuously. It was bigger, it was smaller. It changed all the time. And sometimes when you look at the baby bump, it was almost too perfectly round. And other times it would like indent weird, and it didn't look real. In fact, I said in one video, it looked like there was some kind of a cover over her baby bump. And I thought, well, maybe it was some kind of a protection device or something. I don't know. I was just trying to make sense of it because it didn't look right. Then, when Gypsy and Ryan's divorce was final, looking through the paperwork, there was never mention of a child in all of the divorce papers. Not once. Which is a huge suspicion. Because even she played it off, Gypsy played it off. Oh, well, Aurora has Ryan's last name. Now we've got to go into the courts and change it. But Aurora was never mentioned. There was never a baby mentioned in the divorce papers. Then, when she gave birth, quote unquote, she claimed that her and Ken went alone, and there were no cameras there, and they gave birth, and it was beautiful. And of course, her birthing story of going in there, falling asleep, and then, poop, 15 minutes later, the nurse woke her up and said, okay, it's time to push. And she pushed and it was done. I mean, maybe. It didn't ring true. But of course, we saw later on the Lifetime TV show that Lifetime was supposedly there, did have cameras in, and took pictures not of the birth itself, but right after the birth, etc., etc. So that was a lie as well. They even lied about the date of the birth, trying to say it was, in January when it was in December. So there's that. Speaking of the story of the birth, Ken's mom tried to put it into perspective, which made a lot more sense, but it still was questionable. Then, of course, Gypsy, 2 weeks later, or a week and a half later, all of a sudden, all the baby weight is gone, and look at her, she looks great. There's no stretch marks, there's nothing. She's just so thrilled and excited. Look at me, I lost all the weight, ha ha ha. It was so easy, and the birth was so easy, and being a mom is so easy, and I'm just doing it right. I'm just putting my all into it, which, I mean, what new mom talks like that? I mean, honestly, she never looked disheveled. The first month especially, man, just trying to take a shower was hard because you couldn't leave the baby's side. And it just, everything was perfect and everything worked out so perfectly, and it was like a fairy tale, and all of us were like, huh? Since when? But Gypsy's all about, how everything looks on the outside. So, I know for me, I just chalked it up to, well, she's kind of faking it, but whatever. But that's the whole thing. Everything is like kind of faking it. And then, to top it off, the baby, Aurora, doesn't move like a baby, doesn't cry like a baby. What 8-month-old baby cries like a newborn baby? They're very distinct. But Aurora, the baby, cries like a newborn even at 8 months, which is why we speculated maybe there's something wrong with Aurora, the baby, which, makes sense. But then people were comparing the cries on the videos to these apps that have babies crying, and they sounded so similar. Okay, so is all the crying fake? Aurora the baby never looks like she grows. When Gypsy was carrying Aurora in the supermarket, it looked like the baby would be suffocating with how low the baby was. And in the beginning, Gypsy talked about milestones of what Aurora the baby was doing, but hasn't in the past 5 months. And if you notice, the YouTube channel, the family channel, Magic in the Chaos, all the videos are gone. All of them. And my first thought is, okay, so the family channel failed. That's why they took down all the videos, right? But then I thought, did she just give up on being a mom? Give up on being a family because it's too inconvenient? Like the painting and like being a excuse me, like being an influencer and all the other 50 million things that she tried to do. You can't just say, oh, I'm tired of this baby and get rid of it. I mean, I guess you could, maybe put Aurora up for adoption or something, if Aurora exists. But thinking about the history of this child and all the ridiculousness, all the selling baby stuff when Aurora is still a baby, where does that make sense? Why is it that she always seems to have the same outfit on all the time? Aurora, I mean. Aurora the baby. There's so many questionable things here that it's really hard not to question. Does Aurora the baby exist? Is there a real baby? I mean, what do you think? Going down this history of all these weird, crazy, strange things that just don't connect right? It could easily have been made up. Aurora the baby could have just been a doll. But if this creator, Karma Collector, if he's correct, and some quote unquote accident, takes Aurora away, then we're gonna know the truth. We're gonna know Aurora never existed. But then I question, why would you do this in the first place? It's so sick. It's so depraved to make up a child. Why would you do that? What kind of heinous mindfuck is that? But I could see Gypsy doing something like that in order to gain sympathy, so that people won't hate her. But in her doing something like that is so despicable and disgusting, I would think people would hate her more. Because things like that, they're hard to hide. I mean, already, throughout the whole pregnancy and throughout the whole life of Aurora the baby, we've questioned everything. Everything. But I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that it could all be fake. It just, excuse me, that's going to such great lengths to gain sympathy. Why would you do that? But Gypsy would do that. And it's possible Lifetime would do that. Like, we know Lifetime shows and stuff, a lot of it is fake, phony, scripted. We already know that. But would they go to that length to fake a pregnancy and a baby just for a show? Would they do that and then stage an accident, quote unquote, so that there could be a third season? Is that what this is about? That is sick. That's inhuman. That's so disgusting. I can't even, again, I can't wrap my mind around that. But I want to know what you guys think. Thinking about the history of Gypsy, of her supposed pregnancy, we don't know, yes or no. Her birth, we don't know, yes or no. Everything has been questionable. Everything. And I had made mention before that wouldn't it be so disgusting if she wasn't real and they staged an accident so that she would no longer exist. I just can't. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless at that whole idea. But I'm not the only one who thought that. That's what's so messed up. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just Karma Collector. It's been a lot of people. A lot of people. And I know myself, I've been hesitant to say anything because, again, a baby is a baby. We sort of saw a baby, even though the baby didn't seem to move like a baby moves very much. But it's all been questionable. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, is that legal? I was thinking, like, if Lifetime made this up, or if Gypsy and Lifetime worked together to make this up, it feels like, it feels so wrong. It's like, was that legal? Can they do that? Can they actually do that? It just, I don't even know what to say about it, but man, it certainly got my head spinning. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I would think ultimately it would be best if Aurora the baby wasn't a real baby, because Gypsy shouldn't have a real baby. And that's another question I have. With her microdeletion, would she have problems conceiving? Because I don't know if that's ever been brought up. I know I haven't looked it up. Maybe I'll look that up. But with somebody with that disorder, I guess, would they still be able to conceive naturally? Yes, I know they would still have a 50% chance of passing on the chromosome deletion. But would it be hard for them to get pregnant? Is that another tick on the side of Aurora isn't real? I don't even like saying that. It just seems gross to even consider that. But how could we not consider that when we think of Gypsy Rose and we think of all her lies, all her deceit, all the things that she has done, the terrible things that she said about her mother, the terrible things she tried to push onto Ryan when she left him. You know, this is a pattern for her. So I wouldn't put it past her. But still, to fake a child, if that is in fact what happened, that is so disgusting. I just can't. I can't. I don't even know what to say. It just, oof. Anyway, thinking about the history, about the pregnancy, about the birth, about what we know of the child right now, what do you think about it? Because I don't even know what to think anymore. But I do know, if there's a quote-unquote accident, then that child never existed. I can tell you that right now. And we don't need to get caught up in it. You know, anybody who's a parent, anybody who has nieces, nephews, cousins, have a child in their life or have had children in their life, it's just unimaginable. But I guess, again, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I can see why this guy thinks that it's not real. That Aurora the baby isn't real. Just saying that, like I said, it doesn't feel right. It's so icky feeling. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, thank you for listening. And that's all I gotta say.